one of the Achilles heels of the anti-racism movement, let's say, or movement towards humanity, I guess you could say, or the more human-centric movement, is that people don't really know how power is wielded. People don't really understand power. I think that racialized black people, having been denied power for so long as a group, I think that there's an issue there in terms of understanding what's possible with what power, like you said. And it's very hard because the truth of the matter is, even if it is written down, even if you do create policy, we do see, even in present times, that states are not even following their own constitutions. The Supreme Court is not utilizing precedent in the way that I was taught any court should utilize it in law school. Mm-hmm. Our institutions are making the choice to choose racialization and white supremacy over even the rule of law itself. And this would not be the first time, right? And so it's difficult to get people to buy in to grabbing power in a system that doesn't even have integrity within itself. And I struggle with that myself, to be honest, because I have tried to take the reins of power in various ways. Actually, if you go on my YouTube channel and you watch like my second oldest video, I did Ask Me Anything when I first started doing this. And I remember saying during that, I'm just getting a flashback memory here from this conversation, which is that I was like, I'm interested in the seat of power because that is where things happen. And most people are never there and never going to be there. That is the reality of our society. And it's unfortunate because people want to imagine themselves as having more power, right? We'd like to imagine ourselves as having more power, more influence, because, being able to create an outcome feels good. Like, especially for, for anyone, but I would say particularly for men. There is definitely an aspect of being a man that if you can create an outcome that you set out to create, there is something so fulfilling about that. Viscerally. And that is something that, due to the racialization and the negative associations to blackness that have been created, that black men are being denied. Black men are being denied the opportunity of exerting their power, inherent power of creation.
Yes.
And I see it. I see it happen. I see the results. I'm constantly reversing it. So, I guess I just wanted to bring up again, like, you're really making me reflect on, the work that I'm doing out here. And, it's so valuable, is needed, is necessary. These people, they need this, yes. They are so grateful for it, of being seen as humans, as being empowered. And they do change their perception of themselves. I had one student, another black woman. We're working after hours, after weeks of trying to get her to stay. She stays one day, and we're working on the board together. And she says like a very negative thing about herself, related to her ability to do math. And I stop right there and I say, you know what? Like, maybe that was like, your past self, we don't know what's going to happen from this moment on, right? Like, let's give ourselves a chance to like see if what you said is just true. I already know it's not true because I'm an expert. Okay. And I'm looking at you right here and now, and I see you.
Right.
But, let's see it, right? We work for an hour straight At the end of that hour, she says, I guess I am kind of good at math.
Mm.
In 1 hour, she says the most negative thing about herself as a math student. And then boom, she changes. I guess I am kind of good at math. Because she proved it to herself. Because I gave her the space to do that. I gave her the chance to make those mistakes. I gave her the chance to ask questions. I gave her the chance to feel like if she doesn't know everything, it's okay. Turns out she knew a lot more than she thought.
Right.
And so it's just expanding that to a societal level that is difficult. You will face barriers every step of the way. People will try to stop you from creating that type of environment.
Absolutely.
And people have for my whole life. I've been trying to do this work since jump, since I was a kid. Even before, while I was still being taught, I'm teaching others, you know, and people have tried to stop me every single step of the way.
And that's the powerful takeaway from that, is that there is a Black man like yourself being the living, teaching, working, visually there to represent and to say, you can do this. You can do this. And this is how we're going to get through this. There's the power. There. Now I know we're probably talking different levels of power. I know you talked about the other level of power, just being in control. And I wrote something. I'm going to send it to you. It was a white paper I wrote maybe about 2 years ago about this aspect of controlling power, right? And how it's wielded for a group and against a group. And I think I like to empower young people with the belief in themselves, just like you just did, right? That's powerful. That's powerful when you can take somebody and prove to them that they are worthy and capable. And that is a powerful statement in itself, right? Because now once you get that, the tidal wave that's going to come after that, that person is going to take what they learned from you and share it with somebody else. And instead of taking a negative takeaway from it, they're going to be like, oh, no, no. If I can do it, you can do it. Right? And that's what you did. So now we just started this cascade of events that will hopefully one day take us to your original question. How do we get people involved? Well, you just did. You got this young person to believe that they can do it, which they could, right? And then there's our beginning, right? And then I will also say this: we have a lot of we have a lot of people doing amazing work, just like yourself, right? The great thing about where we are with technology is we can become aware of it. Without social media, me and you would have never met. We never known what work the other one is doing, right? I think now what we have to do is unify as a community and bring it all together, right? Instead of working in silos where you're over here in North Carolina, you're over here in Chicago, you're over here in that. Okay, great. But we're all working towards the same goal, right? I, wouldn't it be a lot more easier if we was all rowing the boat at the same time, right? And again, I think that's going to take some time. I envision it happening. I'm hopeful it happens.
I mean, that's what you just described is something I've heard from other people I've talked to on this show. You know, you're talking about radical cooperation. You're talking about radical cooperation. It is something that has been eluding us, but it is the ultimate weapon in 2024. We must wield it.
I was telling the young brothers in juvenile hall, I said, I told them both, I said, if you got, because I think there's about 15 in their pod. I said, if all 15 of you got together and committed to going to school, getting straight A's, being on time for dinner, being on time for shower, working together, they would probably separate you guys because that's not what they want. They don't want you to work together, right? And that's in a controlled environment. We actually have the freedom to work together. And if we can pull that off, that powerful act right there, it'd be a problem. It would be a problem.
Oh, we should already be being a much bigger problem than we are right now, in
I
my
agree.
opinion. And it's so frustrating for me. That part I talked about it recently actually on one of my shows. Like, man, everyone should be on notice right now. Everyone should be on notice as far as I'm concerned. Like, no one should have a question. But there are questions abound, unfortunately. Thanks for watching. For access to the full-length conversation and all of the 2-hour-long, unedited conversations that I've had on race, click the support link in the description below. Thanks for your support, and see you next time.